Hey guys, what's up? Serena Appiah here from thriftdiving.com, and today I'm still working on my master bathroom makeover. It's taking forever, but the good news is that I've got a great project that I think you're gonna love. We're gonna make a DIY privacy screen, and all we need are a few materials. So let's get started, and I think you're gonna like this. For this project, you'll need a few tools and materials. I'll be using a jigsaw to cut the pieces of plywood for the frame, but if you have pre-cut wood, feel free to use that. And I'll be using a rotary cutter and a mat in order to get accurate and easy cuts. These are from thinkcrucial.com. You're gonna need a ruler. I like to use a ruler that's transparent. And we're also gonna be stenciling fabric. Because I want the light to pass through, I'm gonna use a thin lining fabric for privacy. Use whatever scrap materials you have, but if you have to fuse them together, don't feel like you need a sewing machine. Just use this fusing tape. It works really easy with just an iron. And then lastly, I'm gonna use a glue gun to secure the fabric to the sides of the plywood. So now that we have all of our materials, we have to do the measuring of our window. So we're only gonna be doing a panel that's about half of the size of the window. That way we'll be able to move it up and down. But in order to measure the inside of the window, I'm gonna show you a little trick, and I learned this from C. Jane Saul. You should go check out her YouTube channel. She has a lot of tips and tricks. So we're gonna measure from the inside of this window, and we're gonna put this measuring tape right here in the inside. This measuring tape tells me right on here that it's 3.5 inches. So I'm gonna take the measurement of the window. It shows me it's 19 and 11/16, and then I'm gonna add the 3.5 inches to that measurement to give me the inside measurement of this window. Cool little tip. I'm gonna measure from the bottom of the window to a little bit above. I probably want this about 17 3/4. So now that we've got our measurements, we can write them down on paper and we can get started on cutting our wood. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark my wood for the first piece and use my jigsaw to cut it out. I actually discovered that my window is a little crooked, so even though one piece fits at the bottom, it's a little snug at the top. Also, I didn't measure this properly, and I ended up making it a little too tall. So I'm gonna make some adjustments and just trim down some parts to get it to fit exactly how I want it to fit. You don't actually have to use nails to secure this. You could just use glue and then clamp it and let it dry, but for the sake of time, I'm going to try to glue and nail this together. So I'm going to set it in my clamp, make sure it's as close to a 90-degree angle as I can, and then I'm just going to tighten it, and then I'll use a nailer. So now I've got 3 sides of my little DIY privacy screen, and I'm gonna do another test fit and hopefully it fits. Put that in there, and we do. Perfect. So we're gonna lay this out on our cutting mat. Let's do it this way. And this mat is from Think Crucial. They sell a lot of different products for the home, replacement parts, but they've got some crafting stuff there too. And then I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut this in half. I think that'll be good. And then I'm gonna take first I gotta unlock it, take my rotary cutter, and then I'm just gonna slice it up the middle. So now we've got one panel of fabric there, one smaller panel here, and one smaller panel here. So we want this part facing up, adhesive side down. We're gonna put it right here along the edge. Okay, so we're gonna pull this off, and you'll see that there's a nice clear little strip there. And we're gonna put face sides together, or otherwise known as right sides together. And we're gonna press for about 6 seconds. Should be fused together. Yep, nice beautiful seam. And now when we open it up, it's nice and clean, and we can press it on top so that it's a nice crisp seam. Look at that, beautiful. All right guys, so we now have a full sheet of fabric for our DIY panel. So we have to put the iron away, get the paint, and stencil this baby, and then we can glue it and we're done. So I'm looking for a particular shade of purple that I don't have. So what I've decided to do was to put some paint on this scrap board, and I'm gonna make my own purple. A little bit until I get to the shade that I want. Now that this has had time to dry a little bit, we're ready to secure it to the wooden frame that I made earlier. All right, so I'm just gonna start with gluing one little part right here. Just gonna put a little dot of glue. And then just press it on there. So now that we've hot glued the fabric to the frame, we have a little bit left over, hanging over. Take my rotary cutter and just slice off the extra fabric. Okay, so we made our privacy screen, and now we're ready to test it out and see if it works. Now remember, the bottom of the window was a little bit bigger, a little bit wider than the top of the window because the window wasn't straight. So I think it's gonna be a little tight at the top, but we're gonna make it work. Oh, another thing too, make sure that if your fabric is like mine, where it doesn't wrap around the back, make sure that you use some sort of fray check or something so the fabric doesn't unravel. All right, so here we go. It looks good! I love it, I love it. Okay, now let's see if we can actually push it up because it is a little wider at the top. Oh, we gotta push a little harder at the top, but it fits. I absolutely love this, guys. I had all the materials, so this didn't cost me anything to make. Wood, some fabric I had lying around, paint, a stencil, and now we've got this cute little privacy screen. So most likely what I'll do is I'll probably leave this up. I don't know if it's gonna be functional, but I like the way it looks, so we're gonna keep it. So anyway, if you enjoyed this project, give me a thumbs up. Come back next time and see more videos, more projects. And you can always find me at thriftdiving.com. If you wanna get the materials list for this project, go to thriftdiving.com and download it for free.